Hello
everyone, this is our writers meeting with Dr. Michael Laitman. Hello. We cannot hear you? Dr. Laitman, hello to everyone. Dudi. Great. This is our writers meeting. Again, this is a great opportunity to remind everyone that writers from Kabbalah assemble here from every language, and we also invite all the friends who want to create content from what Dr. Laitman says. And many times these things sound very fractured because we're talking about current events. So this isn't actually a product. This is a platform from where we derive our explanations that we can later arrange and present to the wider public in a soft and more concise way. So last talk we talked about the riots in the USA, and we talked about the differences between the blacks and the whites there, and we got many questions from friends who study from there, from the USA especially, and we would like to ask Dr. Laitman to give us a more logical explanation of what racism is and what's the solution according to the wisdom of Kabbalah. Dr. Laitman. Okay, I'll be brief and later elaborate if you should want that. The root for racism and all these things is the nature of man, the ego in us. We're all different. Men, women, the smaller, the bigger, the wiser, the dumber. Each one is more than others and less than others. And what's most emphasized between us is the division into skin colors: black, white, yellow, red. And this corresponds, as we said in our previous talk, this corresponds to the 4 levels we have in the general vessel of Adam Rishon. These vessels are divided into 4 levels. That's what they're called: 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's how we divide. And it must all be divided in this way. Everything must be different in color, in gender, in everything. No individual is like another. There are some who may be similar, but never the same. No one has someone who's absolutely, completely like him. There's no such thing, we know. So, therefore, our correction is such that despite all the differences between us, we create a connection to the point where there won't be any differences between us in terms of the connection itself, 100% connected in moods and outlook and race and gender and age, regardless of what you may have. In this connection, we connect above all that. As we say, love covers all crimes. It's so that what's different in another, I love. I love the fact that he's different to me, that he's opposite to me. Well, perhaps not opposite, but even slightly different. Even that slight difference, I love. I love those differences, and I want to connect those differences to me. That's how we need to connect. And the greater the difference, all these crimes, as we call them, all the changes, the differences, we cover with love. And then there's room for love, because he's different, as I feel him to be. And on the other hand, that's on one hand. On the other, I have this special attitude towards this difference. Otherwise, I won't have any ability to connect, to love, to create a connection, an embrace. There won't be that. So there must be differences between us in everything, because without that, we won't have any ability to connect. Without that, I won't have the feeling that I may want to come closer to another, to embrace him, to be as one man in one heart. So to begin with, We are built to be very different, even opposite to each other and very, very distant to each other. And it's written in the Torah that these are the corrections we have to make. Now, from generation to generation, as our ego develops more and more, we feel these gaps, these differences between us. And so, if 100 or 200 years ago we didn't feel much of a difference, now we do, much more so, because we're more complex now. And so we pay attention to all the differences between us, and this is proper, because this should awaken us towards making a correction, this process of completion. But for the time being, we're not going there, and so we see that nature is bringing us to know our flaws. And it's, 70 years ago in the USA, we were done with segregation, and so we agreed that there won't be such thing, because that causes only bad things. But you see that to this day, even though they had an African-American president, and so many scientists and so many celebrities and so on who are black, there still are differences, and these differences won't go away. We have to make them go away in such a way where we complete each other with our differences, and not that we remove the differences. We can cover this only with love. Why is it called covering with love? Because it's specifically due to this difference, the gap, all those things I hate. If I cover them with love, this covering, together with the love, yields love and connection and joy that I feel. This is the solution that the Torah gives us. The wisdom of Kabbalah talks about it a lot, and about how to do it. And so we need to see how to actually accomplish this. But this is the only way in which we can put a stop to all those problems that come from the differences between people. And I'm talking about all people, because this is called integral education, meaning that every single point of difference between people, regardless of what exactly it is, we cover all those crimes with love. As we say, black, white, yellow, red, man, woman, small, big, a little dumb, a little smart, cultured, or crude, it doesn't matter. We're all different. If you take a person and educate him, he will still remain him, right? Perhaps a bit more intelligent, a bit more educated, but nevertheless, there's nothing you can do. You cannot take each one and turn him into a print from a certain mold, a certain standard, where you build him like this statue. Each one must be special. But we have to understand that through education for love, everyone feels that they complete each other, and everyone feels good that he's accepted and he accepts everyone else. And this is this kind of examination that needs to take place between everyone. We say, me to my beloved, or for my beloved, and my beloved is for me. Or I am for my friends, and my friends are for me. This is how we get it from nature, from the upper force. Yes? Duty. Okay, so you explained very clearly that there are differences between people in everything, color, race, gender. These things are also very crucial in order to create this upper level of love and connection. Yes, the integral connection. Thank you. Now, nevertheless, there seem to be certain skin colors or races which seem to be inferior to others. So one has a flaw, but others have flaws which seem more prominent socially. Dr. Laitman, this is a social construct. That's all it is, a social construct. If broad opinion was that everyone are equals and no one is inferior to anyone else, but only different, then we would see these differences as helping us express love. Dudi, what is this love that you're talking about? Dr. Laitman, love is when I connect to another, I feel in our connection spiritual upliftment. Duty. And how do we build love? How do I approach someone who I hate, or I was educated not to come close to anyone, right? To this day, there are certain sectors in society that I don't go near, and they don't go near me. So how to do it? Dr. Laitman, you have to go through a certain education system which will educate you, teaching you how to become the perfect man, which you must be. You must get there. And you get there by opening your heart up to everyone. It's only by connecting with everyone that you find yourself in your completed, perfected, true form. Until I connect with you and him and everyone else, I do not find Michael, my name is Michael, I cannot find myself at all. I don't know myself. Who is the true self? When you ask me, who are you? I don't know who I am. It's only now. Well, what I feel to be myself is called the savage, right? The one who came down from a tree or out of a cave. It's also called a wicked man, Adam Blial. So where do I find the true me? Through connections of love. There I find Adam, human being, Adam, from the word domeh, or similar, to the upper force that created me. It's only when I integrate with everyone. And it's me, because I'm still me at the core. But I connect with everyone else as an addition in order to express myself. Where do I express my own individual point? It's specifically, precisely when I connect with everyone else. Duty. So who is that Michael of yours that you discover at the beginning of the process and at its end? Dr. Laitman. All right, I'll tell you. The Malchut in the Parzuf of the root of my soul remains me, and everything else, the Parzuf, is the first 9 Sfirot. I connect to them and through them to the Creator. Duty. And what is given birth through your connection to others? Dr. Laitman, a connection to the universe, to nature, to the upper force, to complete eternal life. Duty. And why connect to someone who's the absolute opposite of you? Dr. Laitman, well, this is called love covers all crimes. I can express it even more that way, where all the hatred between us, all those crimes, I can connect above them with love. Duty. So what does this education do exactly? Does it teach you to connect to others, or what exactly is the focal point of this education? Dr. Laitman. This education is about learning about the integral system in which we are, where we're interconnected, where each one has his own specific, personal, individual point, which is called the root of his soul. And if from that point he begins to connect to everyone else, then he builds Adam, human being, out of himself, dome or similar to the upper force, to the force of nature. Duty. To understand something else, I see many times solidarity, consideration. Now we see white people just kneeling, bowing before black people in the USA, for example, phenomena such as that. In Israel, we have the same thing with Jews and Arabs. So how do you relate to such mutual consideration and understanding? Dr. Laitman, this is the opposite of a true connection, because by that they only emphasize the differences and gaps between them. Do they explain? Dr. Laitman, when I, who am white, identify with the black man, I seemingly, well, what I'm doing actually is lowering the black man and putting myself above him. These gaps are not erased this way. They need to erase the gaps, and this is done only through love. You have no other way. And love can be attained only through a very special method whereby you invoke the power of connection that's inherent in nature. God created all the differences for us to demand the upper force to smooth out the differences, and that's how we connect to Him. Duty. So how do you invoke that power of connection? Simply, Dr. Laitman, by wanting it. By wanting it. It's called a lack. Shelley, the question is, if prior to educating people, do we need to first bring up all the races, cultivate everyone, so that each person discovers who he is, his capabilities, to feel complete with himself, and then connect with others? Dr. Laitman, no. What for? And who is the person who can know about himself so much, know about others that much? No. In whatever state we are, regardless of how developed we are, how much we know or don't know, we need to begin to learn how to connect, and not how each one studies his own psychology, his modes of behavior, and so on. No. There is such an approach, I suppose, but it's not the approach of the wisdom of Kabbalah. And also, the person keeps changing from one day to the next. So what will be tomorrow with all of these things? Shelley, the question is, people who are so different, some feel very good about their lives, some feel trampled underfoot, and how can they connect together? How can such a thing happen? Dr. Laitman, you're right in saying that this is impossible. It's possible only through education. When they go into a single education system, and this system has to take care of them and bring them to the form of a circle where they can feel that, yes, they can support each other and we can all be together as one humanity. Shelley, what will happen in that circle? Will people's hearts change as a result of education? Dr. Laitman, in this circle, everything changes. Your perspective on life and life itself, everything changes. Duty. Love is the goal, yes? Dr. Laitman, well, love, yeah, let's say it's the goal. The goal is more a derivation of love. Yes, it's connection to the general upper force. It's to come out to an eternal dimension above time, space, and motion. Duty, when we say love covers all crimes, what is that love? Dr. Laitman, connection, universal connection, which compensates for everything, all the crimes. We have to discover all those crimes, by the way, to build the love, because love cannot exist without the revelation of all the opposite forms to it that exist in nature. All the opposite forms. In the wisdom of Kabbalah, it's called all the particular sfirot and sub-sfirot and sub-sub-sfirot. It's all opposite, all conflicting, yet all connected together in the general malchut. Dudi, what is the upper love that is born as a result of our love? Dr. Laitman, the upper love is the root and the cause for the creation of reality, including us. Chaim, in the previous talk or previous program, you said that I learned to love the different things in others. The more different they are, I learn to love them more. Dr. Laitman, because the more different we are, the more we can create a fire of love. This gap, the difference, helps us love more. Chaim, because what we hate today is exactly the fact that he's different to me. Dr. Laitman, we don't learn it. We don't learn how to do it. We're not aiming towards love. Chaim, how to make this inversion between hating something that's different to me and loving it? Dr. Laitman, we need to see the outcome, the result. If I understand that love can cover both of us, to include us both together in a kind of capsule, let's say, yes, then we will appreciate that love. Chaim, and what will it give us if it covers us like this? Dr. Laitman, we will both feel good. I'm talking egoistically even, not above our nature or anything. I'm just saying that we need to have education, to get education, and later when we learn to appreciate this more and more, then we will be able to come to states where we see that love can come above our habits, above our differences. Shelley, in what way will education allow these differences to be expressed? Meaning, you get very different people in a circle, and we don't want them to just try to repress and remove the differences between them. So, Dr. Laitman, no, it's the opposite. It's better for us to be as different as possible. It's better for us to develop in all ways, education, culture, whatever we have, because by that specifically, we can make the fire of love higher, bigger. Shelley, so what instruments do we use, what means do we use as part of this education to emphasize those differences? Dr. Laitman, that is a process. It's a process. I don't want to talk about it just now because it might seem like just psychology. This is a process we have to go through in groups, where a person is studying together and the person gets to know his nature and advances. Dudi, the love that we used to cover, as we say, is it kept or can it cool down and can the hatred return? Dr. Laitman, it comes and goes because by that we can again make the fire of love bigger. Love has to be intertwined with hatred. It's like the fire, the wick and the oil in a candle. Dudi, so what can sustain the fire of love in a steady way so as to warm us and so on? Dr. Laitman, it's where the wick and the oil are together, even though wick, ptila, in Hebrew is from the word pasul, or disqualified, meaning that it's opposite to love, but it binds these things together, the oil and the flame. And so we can maintain the fire of love. Dudi, another question we just received, we talked about how we have differences between people in terms of skin color and that those are derived from spiritual roots. So will we have to contend with differences that are born of racism throughout the whole process, or can we get quickly through education to a stage where this gap is fixed? Dr. Laitman, throughout the whole process of correction we will feel differences, gaps between people, then these gaps, these differences will bring us closer and pull us apart intermittently until the end of correction. And at the end of correction, everything will be set up right, and everything will complete everything else. Duty. If a person feels a hostile environment, that his environment is hostile to him, he goes out and protests. So what should he protest for? That there's no education, and Dr. Laitman, when there's no education, he turns to the stick, to the gun. What do you want? There's no education. But a person who has this education learns that the more differences he has between himself and others, the more he can discover this flame of love. Judy, thank you for the explanation. Norma, please, the next issue, anti-Semitism. Norma, thank you very much. So first, regarding what's happening in the USA, in the riots, at least 4 synagogues in Virginia and Los Angeles were looted and destroyed, and shops of Jews owned by Jews and so on. According to Jewish organizations, there is great fear in the air, and the community recommends its members not to go out to the streets needlessly if it's not absolutely necessary. So what do you think about this? Dr. Laitman, I think that this is only the start. It will become much worse. Because our dissemination and the practice of the method of correction, all of that depends on Jews, on the people of Israel. This is the original method of the people of Israel. It's called love thy friend, and love thy friend as thyself, and love covers all crimes. And the fact that the people of Israel don't practice this and don't teach it to everyone else, that's a great sin. And as a result, there is this demand, this hatred from the people of the nations towards Israel. And they don't know, and Israel themselves don't know what gift they have to deliver to the whole of humanity. So they are as though stumbling in darkness. In darkness. The Jews don't know what everyone else wants of them. The anti-Semites also feel that something here depends on the Jews, but they don't know exactly what also. So it follows that nobody has a solution, and we have the solution. And so from what we know, with our knowledge, we have to publish the method of correction as quickly as possible, and how to start upon the path of correction, how to do it, because these things will certainly spread more and more, and this fire will continue and grow. So it's no wonder that people are burning, looting synagogues and so on, although they don't know what to do. Both sides don't know what to do, and we here are in the middle. And if we don't do that, meaning to properly publicize and explain the wisdom of Kabbalah, then, as Baal Sulam writes in the introduction to the book of Zohar, he writes that punishments will befall those who know and feel and can tell about this to everyone, but don't do it. Because of all sorts of calculations, maybe they think it's not the right time. Meanwhile, if people think it's not the right time, well, synagogues are being burned, people are being hurt, shops are being destroyed, looted. And I'm talking not about Jews only, it's for everyone. And so we have to constantly continue and increase our messaging, improve our messaging. Noma. So, Jewish communities are supporting the right to protest, the African Americans' right to protest. So is this something, a cause for optimism? Can it bring these communities closer? Dr. Laitman, this never happened and it never will, and it's the same way it used to be the same in the 50s, right? The Jews were very much in favor of the African Americans, but how did it help? It did nothing. We cannot do anything against the laws of nature. I cannot be good to others. I can do what I think might help them, but I can never do what will actually help them. And therefore, hatred from African Americans directed towards Jews will grow more and more. It's from the roots, from the depths of nature that it grows. And it doesn't have anything to do with how nice the Jews behave. I can now donate money to them, billions. But I will not make any change for the better inside the black man. No, the opposite. Then they will say that, oh, the Jew exploited me, made a profit off of me, now he gives me a small portion, and he thinks he will buy me off that way, giving me small change from what he has. No, there is no choice. We have no choice here but to open up the method of correction and begin to work with it publicly. To spread the method of correction, not only amongst Jews or African Americans, but throughout the whole world, for everyone, to bring everyone into being one unit. Noma, with respect to anti-Semitism, the University of California are being pushed to cut ties with Israel, and also businesses are being pushed to sever ties. And people are claiming that the police in the USA are so brutal and violent because they are being trained by security forces in Israel and so on. Many such claims. So these non-stop calls for embargo in Israel, where will it get? There don't seem to be any limits or boundaries there. Dr. Laitman, of course, and there won't be any. We think that this has nothing to do with us as Jews, right? They think it has to do only with the nation of Israel. No, it belongs to everyone. Everyone all over the world. Why should Jews in France and Germany live quietly? They also need to be pressured, and you will see how these waves will reach them as well. Yes, they will. It's a kind of hatred that sometimes searches for some cause to erupt. But this hatred towards the Jews, the people of Israel, we know it originates in nature itself. Nature is divided into bestowal and reception. We belong to the part of bestowal, and we came to the part of reception to help all the parts of reception get to bestowal, and so we here are at the seam between these two opposite parts of nature, forms of nature, and we have to bring about the correction. And if we're not concerned with that, then we have a problem. Noma, how worse can it get? Dr. Laitman, it can get as bad as the Third World War and the fourth after that one, to the point where we go through such things where even the Holocaust will seem like nothing. We can be put through things which are even more terrible. We're running from it instead of going in and working doing the work that is crucial for us to do, the right work. Dudi, is there a connection between the Jewish people being persecuted and the people who came from Africa who are also discriminated against? Is there a connection? Dr. Laitman, yes, of course. The African people, they're suffering because of the Jews. Every problem, every trouble, whatever you say, whatever you bring up, it's all because of the Jews. Shelley. Yes, for the time being, in Israel, instead of this people starting to do its work correctly, we see constant war between the left wing and the right wing of politics, between the Ashkenazis and the Mizrahis, money and politics and so on. Everyone are always at each other's throat. So how can we come out of that state? How can we take that preliminary step towards correction? Dr. Laitman, the first step towards correction is you writing, constantly writing and trying to explain to everyone as much as possible. And all your friends should spread what you write wherever they can. That's it. Shelley, that's that much we do. But where will change begin? When will we see some spark of hope in the people of Israel, a spark of connection? Dr. Laitman, when you do your work correctly, how else? Shelley, what does it mean to do proper work? Dr. Laitman, you need to tell them about their duties. Shelley, so seemingly we're doing it. What's insufficient in our work? Where are we failing? Dr. Laitman, I suppose we have a problem. We don't feel so much that it's our duty, that we can do something, that we can accomplish something through that. Perhaps I should bring a few people in to beat all of you, and then you'll start writing better, etc. More of the same. How else? I don't know. You tell me. By what means can we awaken the people of Israel towards correction rather? If not pogroms, if not the Holocaust, what? What? You tell me, what? Shelley, I don't know. Naturally, people think that through governments, to place people there who... Dr. Laitman, government. The government is very busy. It's very busy dividing billions and jobs, right? What do you want from government? It's not the job of the government. Shelley, so do you see us as a group, do you see us as having the power to break through, to facilitate that change in the people of Israel? Do you see us as able to do so, but not doing it? Dr. Laitman, yes. I'm telling you, seriously. Shelley, so we can actually generate change? Dr. Laitman, if we all want it together and pray together, and also work at it physically, in practice, each one doing whatever he can, then we will succeed. Shelley, okay, so one last question. People who do dissemination, who share, who write, do they need to, to pray before they work? Because the technique seems to be there, but something is missing there. The creator, perhaps, something seems missing. Dr. Laitman, in each one of us, there is an inner anti-Semite, not allowing us to work correctly. Duty. And so how to take care of this anti-Semite? Dr. Laitman, we work on it. We work on it. Don't agree with everything that happens. Shelley, what does the anti-Semites tell us? Dr. Laitman, he says that it's not so bad, this is how it is, we're used to this already, it's not that terrible, why should I take care of the whole people, who am I, what am I? And all these things, they're clothed in many different forms and shapes. You write 2 articles a week, you put them on your Facebook, that's enough, that's enough. Right? That's what it says. Shelley, so the moment we hear that anti-Semite, what should we tell ourselves? No, I want to be like the Kabbalists who devoted their entire lives, and how to overcome it? Dr. Laitman, yes, to overcome it that way, through connection between us and by suffocating it. Yes? Write an article about how you suffocate your inner anti-Semite. Duty. So the change is a matter of quantity. We need to have more of our messaging online and clear articles and so on, or what? Dr. Laitman, the main thing is to reach the heart of the person. As Baal Sulam reached our hearts, so do we need to learn how to touch all the hearts of all people. Duty, Baal Sulam, that's very high. Dr. Laitman, yes, so it was even harder for him. He cannot fight like Norma and Shelley and yourself. He could not. Otherwise he would have. Because what he wrote, that's it's only for a small percentage of the people. But we need to bring his writings down to the people, to bring them down more and more. Shelley, how does the written word trickle into the heart of the person? You said that you talked about it, so how to do it? Dr. Laitman, writes in this way. Let's say, dear friend, I want you to feel me within your heart. How to do it? How to enter your heart so that you will feel me there? That I'm warming your heart from within. That I want you to feel me being there. That I'm calming you, embracing you, and so on. Start from you asking the other what they need to do for you to be accepted that way.
Norma.
Thank you, Norma. So, continuing the discussion about dissemination, if we're still not connected together, and our task is to disseminate as broadly and the most accessible way, in the most accessible way for people, so we need to bring about, or rather, can we bring about change in everyone, even if we're not yet connected together? Dr. Laitman, you are connected to an extent. You attend my lessons and you are affiliated with this method that you're learning. You're part of it, so you are connected. There is a certain connection, and it has power. It has an effect, but it's insufficient. Yes. Judy, we will continue to the last topic of this meeting. Guy Tzakov, please, about working from home in the new employment world. Guy, yes, another thing we want to write about is, it's something that the coronavirus did, which is it accelerated the processes which were planned but were immobile, let's say, where employers understood that instead of people wasting their hours in traffic, and where an 8-hour day will take 12 hours to accomplish, many companies leave their workers at home. They hire a meeting room once every while, and they understood that this can be done. Also, the higher education system is going in that way. And we wanted to ask you, what do you feel about working from home? Dr. Laitman, I see this as a very good, positive step forward. Yes. I'll tell you, first of all. It's written that the connection of the wicked is bad for them and bad for the world. And so, until people become corrected, The further away they are from each other, that's good. You can say, however, on the other hand, so how will they discover that they're evil, that they're wicked? You don't have any collisions between them, conflict. It's true that there's no conflict, but you can then teach them in a calmer environment, in the environment where they are. You can teach them about the right laws and rules governing connection, and they're capable of learning this, especially as they are at home. The question is, how do they communicate? How do they interact? How do they study this new form of behavior? What exactly and how do we convey this to them? So there's a whole system here that needs to be developed and presented to them. And I very much hope that this is how it'll happen. This is something we have to do. Now, in relation to the fact that the whole world will transition wherever possible to working from home, I think in general that's a good thing. It saves a lot of wasted energy and time and annoyances, conflicts, accidents. It's very good, very thrifty. Why not? Humanity will have to develop connections between all people in this new way.
זה הכל נכון וטוב מבחינת חוכמת הקבלה.
But this is all fine and well in terms of the wisdom of Kabbalah. Guy, one of the challenges with this transition is the conflict between work and family. When a person is in the office, well, that's he's bounded in, so to speak. It's easy to put boundaries around. And in working from home, we see that there are no boundaries. You're at home, you need to provide for the family, but you're with the family and so on. Is there a message you can give us for how to work correctly in this way? Dr. Laitman, I think that it will be the most correct, the most honest, if each one who works from home will get a bonus to his salary, a bonus from what the company's saving. Because we know that when I open a business, I know that I need this much area and all sorts of payments, and we know how much of the business is it. 20, 30%, it depends on the business. Guy, no, it can be more. You have rent payments and electricity and paying back for transit and so on, many things. Dr. Laitman. All right, so if you take that, or at least a part of it, and give it as a bonus to those working from home, and of course, you need to provide them with all the necessary conditions for working from home. You need good computers, good internet lines that you pay for, and so on. It follows that everyone stands to gain, every worker, every family. They will be better off, to a point where perhaps each one of them can expand their apartments to have a workroom in addition, a study, an office. Guy, yes, then apartment prices will rise. That's the other half of it. But yes, perhaps that can that solve the conflict between work and family? Just more money? Dr. Laitman, yes, more money can help. That's one thing, because you have, you save on gas and everything in addition. Secondly, I think it will bring about a greater feeling of calm in the family, right? Security. It will be good. It will be for the best. And with the coronavirus coming and going, we will end up seeing that there is no choice, ultimately. That this is the best way. Guy. All right, so we are for working from home, if I understand. Dr. Laitman, yes, without a doubt. Guy, last question. So following the coronavirus pandemic, there are many articles about professions that are going to disappear and are in the process of disappearing. It's a bit different to what we say. We say that only 10% of people are absolutely necessary in the work in the work market, right? We have we have a lot of information about new jobs and new professions that are coming up, planning the internet, planning the new job market, and so on. So how do you see the new job market and all those professions that are going to rise up? Dr. Laitman, well, this is a very extended process, a very long process where certain professions vanish and everything goes online. Everything. I don't know what happens with, for example, the cultural entertainment complex, all of that, theaters and so on. It will all just work through the internet. Yes, the coronavirus, it's not going away. Whatever you do, put on masks and so on, face masks, this will accomplish nothing. Our culture will disappear completely as we know it today. And it will all transition to the internet. So I'll see some opera on the large screen TV, and I'll be the same as impressed by it, even more perhaps, and so on, and so forth. I think that all businesses should look towards becoming 100% virtual. And I think the majority of businesses are capable of it. Guy, I have one last question regarding the job market. When we look at a person's satisfaction with his place of work, one of the most major elements, sometimes even more than what he gets paid, it's his social relations, interactions with people he works with. Many times you see people leaving good jobs with good pay because they don't get along with the people there and they go to another place where they get along with people. Dr. Laitman, so hold a weekly meeting or something. A weekly meeting where they come and sit together in some pub somewhere. Right? They reserve it ahead of time, and they sit together and discuss things related to their work, maybe. There's no problem. They'll get along. It'll work fine. Guy, so it's not a problem to fulfill a person's need for social interactions, right? Even Dr. Laitman. No. And in general, look, you have sports clubs and everything. It's all going to take on a new form. Guy, so that's a question. Sports, you can't do it virtual, right, on the internet. Dr. Laitman, what's the problem with me doing these things from home? Guy, don't you feel that people will feel like suffocated being at home all the time with the family and so on? Dr. Laitman, so they can go to the beach, they can go out for a run in the park. What's the problem? Of course, they'll still need to keep social distancing as we call it. That won't go away. This won't go away, at least for a few years. Duty. Okay, so two things I have that I wanted to say. What about depression, sadness? Sometimes those walls they close in on you. Dr. Laitman, it depends on what you do with your time. You can go outside of the house and go for a run. You can do it with a friend too. You can hold a meeting, a family meeting, perhaps of several families together. What have you been doing thus far that you can't do now? Duty. Look, people need a society. Even in my workplace, you go to the coffee station perhaps or something, you make a coffee, you exchange some words with someone, even without words, you have nonverbal communication, and it's missing. Now you're in front of your computer, in front of the wall. Dr. Laitman, I feel it. I feel when looking at you, I feel that I also miss seeing you live, so to speak. It's true. But these things, I think, come down to habit. It's just a habit. We're obligated, compelled by nature to feel each other within ourselves. Where all my friends, everyone I know, and the whole world in general, it's all within my heart. And so we have to transition to a new method of connection now. Duty. So I want to ask, there is a common experience, a shared experience. Even when we go to the gym, each one comes to build his own muscles, but we do it together at Dr. Laitman. Yes, I understand, it motivates you and so on. Duty. Yes, to cry together, to laugh together. There's something I need, even if I don't really care about the others. But with me and the computer, I don't have any such reactions from the sides. It doesn't exist for me. Dr. Laitman, from this situation, from this state, seek out a new form of connection. And whether you want it or not, this is the only thing that you can do. And then you can ask me, let's say, you can ask, I want connection so bad, like you just said. Any kind of connection. How do I find it? And then I will tell you, come to me and study.
Okay.
Duty. All right. Welcome. Dr. Laitman. Even better if all humanity wants this, and they will have no choice about it. The coronavirus, what it does, it's duty. Yes, I feel how life previously was like an illusion, and now I feel it's like tasteless to just sit and write more and more and what? I just Guy, okay, ask. Guy, so in this respect, was the coronavirus meant to awaken a need for connection in humanity? Dr. Laitman, of course, your previous feeling of connection is taken away. You were like a child in the backyard, and now there's no more backyard. So what will you do? You have no choice. You have to go towards something new. Yes, it's all pre-planned. Duty. What is that new thing? Dr. Laitman. Look for a more inner connection. Not through physical contact, but rather through virtual contact. Duty. And this will compensate for all of my needs and Dr. Laitman, of course, yes, of course it will. The spiritual connection satisfies all needs. Duty. I want to ask even personally about you. You're sitting now in your place, in your room, and you don't feel that you need to get out of that place. You don't miss connection with people, interactions, this feeling of vitality. Dr. Laitman, no, almost not at all. Almost not at all. Duty. And what sustains you that way, not needing anything? You have your computer, your room, and what sustains you? Dr. Laitman, what did I have before? I have students, I have books, I have these talks. I have the duty of developing this wisdom as much as possible, this method of connection, to adapt it to the current generation. And this is my life. Dr. Laitman, seriously though, in this mode of work, and I don't go out of my room. Perhaps I go out to the roof a little bit for a stroll, and that's it. Everything else is just my computer, watching the news on TV and sleeping. That's it. But yes, I do yearn for you to come, specifically the writers. You specifically, those who used to come here. I have this, I miss this interaction with you. Duty. Okay, so exactly that. What is that physical interaction that you miss, where Zoom meetings don't suffice? Dr. Laitman, well, I don't know. I kind of absorb, I feel the person, the personality. Duty. So virtual connection doesn't compensate fully yet, Dr. Laitman. Well, I'm not perfect. What do you want? Not yet. There are things that we find in this world, the lower world, some connections other than the essence and the spirit. Duty. And what is that thing that passes between us on the level of this world? Dr. Laitman, some impression from body language, inflection and motions, so on. It all completes your image of the person. Duty, I'm getting many questions regarding children. Perhaps in our development as adults, we can get along in a way. But what about children? They're quarantined at home. They need the connection, human connection, to develop. Dr. Laitman, we need to advance as quickly as possible towards a good connection between us, and then we will know what we need to build for our children, what frameworks. Yes, for the children especially, of course, we need to establish a proper environment. This, however, will also be a new generation. They won't be just running around as we did, roaming the world as we did before the coronavirus. They will be more limited. And when will we be able to revoke these limitations? It's when we rise to a higher spiritual connection. All right. Duty. Yes, we need to finish. Norma, please, you can have one last question. We stole some of your time. Dr. Laitman, no, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. Continue. Norma, I actually don't have a question exactly. It's more to tell you that there are always new things in these talks, innovations that we get from you. You told Guy that companies will have to take into account perhaps paying out bonuses to workers who work from home. And Google, the company, just now announced a few minutes ago that they will give $1,000 bonus to all its employees to buy whatever they need to work from home. And they also got all sorts of benefits in their workplace, food allowances and stuff like that. They got all sorts of such bonuses which they don't get working from home. So now they're giving them extra bonuses. So I wanted to update you on that. Dr. Laitman, ultimately it's good for everyone, you see? Duty, perhaps you can summarize this whole idea. How does working from home advance the world spiritually? Dr. Laitman, people will understand that the connection needs to be more inner, less formal, more emotional, where they need to feel each other and to speak in an inner way to each other. And we will come to that. We will reach states where you will feel your friend as though being within you. Good luck to all of you. And whenever you want, even if you want to hold these meetings on a daily basis, I have no problem. I'm quarantined, you see. But soon I will speak to all the organizers about how to open that third floor of ours in our building on the condition, of course, that everyone are careful about the face masks and everything. I actually don't exactly know how it works because I don't have a face mask yet. I never wore one, being isolated as I am. But if you even want to come back, that's a question. To working in your offices, I don't see that you're so concerned, Dudi. You said that it's so good, it's so helpful to work from home, so it's difficult for me to... Dr. Laitman. All right, we will think together with our board of directors, yes, how to do this. And whoever wants to can come back to the office. I don't know. They will determine these things. Guy, so we won't receive bonuses for working at home? Dr. Laitman, you ask them. The spiritual edition depends on you. The bonus, the corporeal bonus depends on them. So good luck. I embrace all of you. Be healthy. Bye-bye. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.